It's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm, and today I'm going to show you how to make what's called a confetti rag rug. It's a very simple rag rug that you can make on the machine. Now, most people think of rag rugs, they think of like braiding strips together or somehow crocheting strips together. This is very different. This is a rug that you have a base, and then you have 3-inch squares. Very simple project. You have a base, and I think a good size is 19 inches wide by 33 inches long. And then you have, you can do them matching colors. If you want a very planned out rug, with stripes, you could do whatever, you know, solids, you could do all the same. I like to use up my scraps, and so it's a very sort of random. I just grab them from my scrap basket here that I've made a whole bunch of them, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Really, it's a little bit time consuming, so obviously I'm not going to sit here and show you the entire process because it does take, well, if you have an uninterrupted hour, you probably could get a lot of it done. It also depends on, you know, if you're a beginning seamstress or if this is something that is just as, you know, you've been sewing for a long time. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold your squares into triangles, and then you're going to be sewing down the middle. So each triangle will be connected to the base like this, and then you'll have these little things that will be standing up, and that's why when they're all together it looks like confetti, because it's a bunch of little triangles all over. Let me talk about the base. The best thing to use is a canvas or denim. I like to use old jeans, but I didn't have anything like that today. What I did have was this heavier upholstery fabric, so that's what I'm using. I've cut it into a rectangle, and then I've rounded my corners. You can do a circle. You can do really any shape, an oval. If you have another rug that you like, you can use that as a pattern and trace around it. What we're going to do with our base is we need to hem the edges. You can fold them under twice. You can zigzag it, you can serge it, however you want it to finish it. I'm just going to fold mine under and zigzag it like this. This part is not going to be seen, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And you will find that a lot of the projects I do don't have to be perfect, and that's what makes them so simple and practical. And what I'm doing is I'm just folding it over about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm folding it over another 1/4 of an inch. If you want to iron that, that's fine. Well, once you get it started, it's pretty easy just to keep rolling and sewing. I have my hem done on my rug. So this is mostly I mean, you could make one and not hem it if you wanted to, if you had canvas or denim, but when you wash it, the edges will unravel if you don't have a hem. So I think having a hem is a good idea. Alright, so I'm going to start on my flat edge. The reason why I'm going to do this is it just makes it easier to maneuver and line up. So I'm going to take my first triangle and put it down on there. Fold your fabric so it's the right print side out if you're using prints. And what you're going to sort of do, it's going to look 2 or 3 of them in a row like that. So you can see they're like in a row, just on top of each other. I'm just going to do a straight stitch through the center onto the base of my the hemmed base. When you get to about halfway to through the square, which is now a triangle, just add another one. Lift up your foot, put it under there. Lift up your foot. You can use any kind of fabric. I find cotton works the best. But whatever you have, denim works really good. Where you can get a lot of fabric is a man's dress shirt. And that's a really nice, usually most men's dress shirts are really nice heavy cottons. And those work really good because that cotton wears really well. And remember, this is a rug. So you want to have sturdy fabric. This blue that I'm working with came from a man's shirt. And like I said, you can plan this out. I've done fancier ones. I happen to just like sort of the randomness of it and knowing that I'm using scraps that otherwise probably would, you know, be going to waste. I save, you know, if I'm not doing a smaller quilt block, then I've got all these pieces of fabric. So you're just going to fold in triangles, sew them on. That it's not complicated, just sort of time consuming. At the end, you see I just have a row of triangles. Now you can do this two ways. You can continue along this edge and do a frame and then go sort of like in a spiral, or you can just do it in rows. I am going to do it in rows. Find it useful to pin this first row over. Row back. Now I'm just going to go back to where I started. Make sure my triangle is going the same direction. Line it up with the first one. And I'm just going to sort of being careful not to sew the first row into this new row. Just going to do another row of triangles right next to it. Okay, now I have two rows and I've taken out my pins so you can sort of see the way the rows, there's the first row and there's the second row, and when it's laying flat you're starting to see the overlap. It's going to be row upon row, and in the next row I'm going to pin these over and I'm going to do the same thing. So you're just doing row, row, row until you fill it up. So every time you get done with one, just lap it over there and pin it in. You could also use painter's tape or masking tape if that was easier for you. To me, I use the pins. And like I said, since they're all sort of hooked together, it gets so that you only need a few pins. And I would advise using like a big pin, like I'm using these big pins with the yellow. That way when you go to take them out, you find them all easy. I'm going to keep working, and I will probably speed this up. Obviously, you don't want to sit here for a whole hour watching me do row after row. And we'll look at the finished product. But right now you can see I have two rows, and you already see the fullness, and that's just two rows because each square is being overlapped, and then sort of you're getting two little triangles double triangles out of each square. So I'm just going to keep working here and find all my pins. Usually it's easier to find the pins by looking at the back. Okay. All right, we have finished the rug, and it could use a little bit more fluffing out. You can shake it and fluff it, but that's the gist of it. See if I can get down here so you can see all the little pieces of fabric there. Like I said, you can do it any shape you want, and I think it turned out pretty good. So, and you see one of my cats are going to check it out right now. Rocco is approving the new rug. He is the old man in the house. He's 15, and so he is in charge. And he is checking out the rug, and it appears to be something that he has put his seal of approval on. Okay, so Rocco has approves, and we are finished with that rug.